Alright, good afternoon everyone. Today is Wednesday, April 11th, 2012. And these are the results of the morning. We had 8 ticks gain, YM. We are break even on the Russell. I took 2 trades right at the end. We have 6 ticks profit on the soybeans. There was one trade that I took in the morning session. I don't even remember if I told you guys when I was taking it. I know I typed it into one of the partners, but let's see. The gold we're even on, and the ES we didn't take any trades on. Okay. The gold we ended up taking some trades. This is the wrong month, but gold we are even on anyway. I ended up taking a couple of trades right at the end there in the gold. Let me slide these off of my charts right now. Okay, so you can see them over here. Alright. Here on the middle section is the ES. Over here on the left is the Russell. And over here on the right is the YM. Alright, I'm going to step through all those from the morning one at a time and show you what we did or didn't do. Okay, now with the Russell, it started out here early morning. Well, not so early. Let me scroll back. This was early, right here. There was an up close. There was bullish divergence here on the slingshot, and an up close right here would have been the spot to get long. All right. I apparently did not take that trade. Right here, there was bearish divergence, and a down close right here after testing the BBC was an opportunity to get short on that big move down. There was another one right here, bearish divergence, tested the BBC right here. The down close would have been an opportunity to get short. Over here there were a couple of spots that it didn't quite hit it, you see. We had the bullish divergence, but it didn't pull all the way back here. I know there were some guys in the room this morning who were asking, was there a way you could enter that trade? It would have been a little more aggressive, but the close up above the MA1 right here would have been the spot to get into that. Okay. I did enter this trade over here. We had bullish divergence. It came back down and tested the BBC here. I stayed in this trade for a while, and I got out over here. This was right on top of the crude oil coming out. So I got out right here before this bar that dropped down and the subsequent bars that went up. But that was the morning. And then as we got into the afternoon session, I took 2 short trades in here right at the end of the morning session. I shorted right here, and I lost 8 ticks on it, and I shorted again right here, right over here when we got the down close right here, and I got 10 ticks profit on that. So that's how I ended up break even on the Russell on the morning. Okay, it started out I got 10 ticks profit there. I lost 8 ticks there, and I lost 2 ticks on this trade right here. I ended up losing 2 ticks because I got out at market to get my break even. I was looking to get a break even, and it slipped me a tick. All right, that was the Russell for the morning, and that's pretty much it on the Russell. All right, now on the ES, I'll show you on the 10K right here. We had a bearish cross with a pullback up to the BBC. Right here. Now what Dwayne was showing a few minutes ago was if you don't have any other indicators going here, then this pullback to the BBC right here normally will do pretty well. Okay? If you look at the additional things, and he had actually put this in the blog last night as well, if you look at the additional things that we have going here, you can certainly have a little more confidence in the trade when it's happening. Okay? If you go back and look again and again, like right here, and again right here, you see we have these divergences down here, and here, and again, right here. Oops. Hang on. Right there. Okay? So that is one more way to use some of the tools that you get when you become a CFRN partner. or when you take the free trial. Again, Dwayne had mentioned earlier, if you haven't taken the free trial yet, go to www.cfrn.net/apply, that's APPLY, and take the free trial. Okay, if you haven't taken it yet, you can go and do that. If you have taken it already, then you have the opportunity to become a partner. Send us an email at support@cfrn.net, find out what it takes. We have a partners meeting tomorrow night. So anybody that's in here on the free trial right now that wants to become a partner, you should really try to get everything taken care of before tomorrow night. If you don't know what it takes, check your mailbox, not your mailbox, but your email. You should have an email from me, from tech@cfrn.net, stating all the requirements to become a partner. All the requirements, it's not a whole bunch of requirements. It's just an email telling you what you need to do, all right, to become a partner, to get into that partners meeting tomorrow night. All right, now, sorry, I got distracted. Moving on, let's go over here to the YM. We took a bunch of trades in the YM this morning. Okay, we ended up plus 8 ticks on the YM. We missed a bunch of trades, but we did take a bunch of trades as well. You know, the folks in the partners meeting last week said they wanted to see more YM and ES trades if possible, and so the YM has been the one giving up the trades lately. Now, this was my first trade of the morning. I think I took 5 or 6 ticks out of this one. You see we had bearish divergence right here. Okay, this was the bearish divergence. We pulled back up, tested the BBC, got the down close. I shorted there, I bought it back here. Over here, we had bullish divergence. I missed some things in here. We have some rogue arrows in here. But I missed right in here where the BBC had crossed, the MA1 had crossed down below the BBC. We had a down close right here after testing just a little tiny bit of divergence. There was a possibility right there. The better looking setup is this one right here, where you had the MA1 cross up above the BBC, and it was the first pullback down to the BBC right there. I went long on the up close that's hidden by that bar. I went long right there on that up close with the divergence, bullish divergence on this indicator down here. I went long there, and I didn't move my stop up to break even. It actually stopped me out before I had a chance to move it up to break even. Then the market dropped down, gave me another opportunity on the short side. You see, this is the same setup across all these markets. We're just looking for pullbacks to the BBC when we have divergence. All right, it pulls back to the BBC, tests it, and gives a down close going back in the same direction as we are divergent. And I got short there, and I took some profit on that one. There was another opportunity right over here that I missed, right in here. All right, this was the bullish divergence. This was the test right here. Let's slide that over, the test with the up close right there. There was bullish divergence here, but it came back down, and I'm not sure what was going on right here. We didn't get into this. The up close was right here, so this would have been the first spot to try to enter. If that would have stopped you out, then the second spot would have been right here. All right, though we started to lose the divergence a little bit. I think the reason I didn't do that was because we were losing the divergence. The red was going down against us. Anyway, everything moved into bearish divergence here for these two movements right here, we'll just call them, okay? These two swings right here showed bearish divergence, and then it got back into bullish divergence right there. Okay, so an up close after testing right in here would have been a spot. I did go long over here, and I got out break even right here. This was the same spot where I was long on the Russell for that period, I think. Yeah, crude oil was about to come out. So I was long the YM, I was long the Russell, and I think I was short gold all at the same time. And it was just going sideways here, so I took a break even on the YM as well. I missed a couple of opportunities in here. You see we had the bearish divergence, the pull back up and test of the BBC. I know some of the partners in the room got that, but tested the BBC, closed down, did it again right here. Tested the BBC, closed down, did it again over here. I did get into this one. I got out over here at break even, or maybe plus 1 tick, I think. Once it closed down below the MA1, and it didn't go down quickly, I got out of that one again. All right, this one right here, I took a couple ticks profit on. Let's see, over here we had bullish divergence, but I didn't take a trade. And right now we have a rogue arrow. We actually have bullish divergence, but it hasn't tested the BBC yet. Okay, right there. In here we did have some bearish divergence, for those of you who may be following along very well. There was bearish divergence right there, and it tested the BBC right there, so the down close right here would have been the spot. Now, after it went sideways at the MA1 for so long here, I would have been looking to get out of this trade, because I like to see the MA1 either, well, I like to see it just be the thing that's going to make or break the trade. Meaning if it closes down below the MA1, I want to see it move quickly. Like right here, for instance, it closed above the MA1 and it moved quickly. Over here, it closed down below the MA1 and it moved quickly. I like to see that. I don't like to see this business right here, where it's just going sideways right at the MA1. Alright, so we do have some bullish divergence. We would look for a test of the BBC here, right now, for a possible trade setup on the YM. Alright, so now I've done the Russell, the ES, the YM. Let me bring out, next we'll bring out soybeans. Okay. This over here was a little trade that I took on soybeans during the, I think that was the spot. Was that the spot? I don't know. I took a trade on soybeans with a couple of contracts and got 3 ticks on it. The ones that I missed, right here, when soybeans opened up at 10:30, we had to pull back up to the BBC with a complete divergence down here on the cycle, on the slingshot. Let me set this slingshot so that it's a little easier for you to see. There you go. We had the complete divergence down here on the slingshot, okay, and a down close right there. That dropped 9 cents in, I don't know, 10 minutes. That's, well, it wasn't 9, total 9, 14.26 down to, yeah, 9 or 10 cents in about 10 minutes. That's the equivalent of a 10-point move on the ES. It pulled back up. We had divergence again on the pullback and test of the BBC. It had a down close right here. Now, we talked about this in the in the live trading room. Bert had asked me, if I still liked it because this was going up, and I said, well, the thing that I was really concerned about was how far it went through the BBC. But it ended up being a very nice trade anyway. If you did take it, what I said was, if you wanted to, you could get short right here with very little risk. 5 ticks risk. Just put your stop right up above this swing pivot right here. If you got short here at 1421, 1421.75, I think, right in there. You could have dropped. Well, it dropped 6 cents pretty quickly. That was a pretty easy trade to take. There was another one right over here. Yeah, this is where I got short right over here. Now I got short on the close down below the BBC right here. We had a little bit of divergence here. By the time I did it, we had lost the divergence. But right here, when it was divergent, I was looking for the down close. But by the time the down close had come, it was gone. Then I was looking for the close below the MA1 and the BBC, and that's what I got right there. But typically, that's not something that we would do in the live trading room. Now, right here, what you see is bullish divergence. Okay, that's why you guys didn't see me do that in the live trading room. What we have right here is bullish divergence, and it's pulling back to the BBC. Okay, it's pulling right back to the BBC here. When it gets back to the BBC, if you have an up close, that would be an opportunity to get long. It hasn't tested the BBC yet. All right, that is soybeans. Let's see, what haven't I done? Gold, I think, right? Let me find my gold chart. Here's gold. All right, now we took a few trades in gold this morning as well. There's a bit of opportunity. A bunch of it I missed. You can see I missed a ton of gold trades. The first one was right here. We had bullish divergence. It came down, tested the BBC. We had an up close right there. That was a nice opportunity for gain. The second one was right here. I did actually get long there, and I think I took a tick or two profit on it. Yeah, I think I held off at 10 o'clock because of news as well, Dwayne, on that one. Over here we had some bearish divergence, and I was pointing out the bearish divergence, but it never pulled all the way back. Again, here, if you were aggressive, you could have shorted a close down below the MA1, but I don't want to confuse anybody with any of this stuff at this point. Right here, it didn't pull all the way back. It was trying to test the BBC right there. Again, if you were aggressive, you could have sold a short. I mean, you could have sold a close of that right there with the full divergence that you had down on the bottom. Now, it got really choppy in here, and I stopped watching it for a few minutes until after well, there wasn't an actual news event at 10 o'clock, but the market usually reacts at 10 o'clock as though there's something going on. I did take a long trade right here. We had bullish divergence. It pulled back, hit the BBC, closed up, and I did take a long trade. I didn't get the full 10 ticks out of it. Same thing right here on the trade right after it. I did take a long trade here. I got a few ticks here and a few ticks here, and then I lost 8 ticks on this one right here. Okay. Now in here I missed a whole bunch of things. There was bearish divergence right here. This was getting on to the period where the crude was going to come out. And I missed a whole bunch of things in here. Alright, so I didn't actually trade the gold. I was thinking of trading the gold, but I didn't trade the gold at the time when I was short, or I was long, sorry. I was long both the YM and the Russell. And I did not trade the gold. I was thinking about getting short the gold. Anyway, right here is where it tested the BBC, and it dropped down from there. It went sideways for a long time. Then after the crude report came out, there were more opportunities in here. We had a nice cross here, and it broke out of this little bit of a range that it was in. Okay, when it put in this swing high right here, pulled back down to test the BBC. We had bullish divergence. It went up from there. Did it again right here, bullish divergence, and it went up. Then we got a bearish cross right here. Okay, once we had the bearish cross and we had the bearish divergence. When I say bearish cross, I mean the MA1 crossing below the BBC. I was looking for the down close. We got that right there. So I shorted that right there, and I gained a little bit on it. I don't know how much, but I didn't get the full ride. I missed the next one, and the next one, and the next one. All right. So let's go back over this. Right here was 10 ticks potential. That was a break even. I think it gave about 6 ticks. Here another 10, here 10, here 10, here minus 8, here probably 5 or 6, would have been a break even probably. Here 10, here 10, here 10, here 10, here 10, and there 10, and there 10, and here minus 8. Actually this wasn't 8 that I lost. I think I lost 5 on this or something like that. And then we got into the break period in here. And I took another one in here, I think right over here. I didn't mark it, but right over here. I took a short trade. But you can see we had all this bearish divergence here, and price just kept testing the BBC. Alright, right here it moved up above it, and when this thing right here, I don't want to confuse anyone, but when you get a little hiccup thing like that, that's when you would look for a close down below the MA1 to get short. Alright, and there were more opportunities in here. Tested the BBC right there with a down close. Right there. Simple trade. Alright, right in here, there was nothing because it didn't pull back and test the BBC. And this is where we are right now. It's starting to put in some bearish divergence right here. Okay, but it's not quite there yet. Right here you see price was moving up with the blue cycle part of the swing. I mean part of the slingshot right here. Okay, and price closed up above the MA1, continued to move up. That's an aggressive momentum trade right there. Okay, over here I'll show you one more spot right there with the up close right there. Okay. Alright, now watch this over here. This is developing bearish divergence right now as we speak, so it should come up, test the BBC, and get rejected by the BBC. So we should see price get up there and get rejected there. Okay, that's what I anticipate. Let's see. We have That's it. That's all we have. All right. I think those were all our trades on the morning. If anybody has any questions about any of these trades, you can send an email to support@cfrn.net. All right, support@cfrn.net, and I'll get back to you as soon as humanly possible.